Okay, well, welcome to the community forum. Hopefully we'll get this out to more people since we're recording. My name's Gabby DeWitt, and I work for the Black Hawk County Health Department, and thank you so much for joining us. I will just say kind of quick that COVID-19 vaccines are still available, and we hope that people get vaccinated. We drew 4 winners today for our vaccine incentive program, and we have 4 more winners to draw next Friday, and that's how I met Allison actually via email, as she was asking about our incentive program. And so anybody who gets vaccinated between now and July 29th will be in that drawing for $500 in gift cards. So if you have people that are kind of on the fence, hopefully tell them about that, and we'll get them, they'll automatically be signed up. If they get their vaccine and they live in Black Hawk County, they're automatically signed up. So I'm going to view different. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speakers today. Nikki Litzel is a business marketing specialist at the Cedar Valley Iowa Works, a division of Iowa Workforce Development. Iowa Workforce Development is a state agency committed to providing employment services for individual job seekers through the Iowa Works Partnership. The goal is to provide a win-win to match job seekers with employers. And she's with us today to tell us a little bit more about their programs and services. And then also Nilvia Reyes Rodriguez is a migrant and seasonal farm worker outreach specialist with Iowa Workforce Development. She works directly with farm workers, agriculture employers, providing education and employment services. And outside of Iowa Workforce Development, she's a commissioner on the Waterloo Commission of Human Rights, co-founder of Dream Iowa, and works with various community organizations centered around services for Latino, immigrant, and refugee communities. So they're both going to be sharing their wealth of information with us today. And so Nikki, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Gabby, and thank you for having us here today to talk about our services at Iowa Works. We are at, as many organizations are, at a different point where we're finally coming out of being heads down, focused on pandemic and COVID and all of those things. And we are now gradually getting back into normal services at Iowa Works. So I'm going to talk about those today. The last 15 months have been, a lot of people think of Iowa Workforce Development as unemployment and unemployment insurance benefits. And we do so much more than that. And there's lots to tell. Ironically, because we do unemployment insurance benefits and we skyrocketed in unemployment insurance, everybody for the last 15 months was all hands on deck across the state of Iowa dealing with unemployment insurance because so many claims were coming to us. But now, again, as I mentioned, we're back and we're excited to be doing some other things that are actually re-employment services. A lot of people think of Iowa Workforce Development and Iowa Works as unemployment, but we really are about re-employment services. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and start sharing that presentation with you. Okay, now I have to get it to advance. There we go. So this is kind of a silly little cartoon of so many different people have so many different opinions in our community and many communities. And there are, again, as I mentioned, so many services and opportunities with Iowa Works that we can, if we aren't able to help you, in a lot of cases, we can direct you to different organizations and partnerships in our community that are able to help. But there's a lot of different priorities for a lot of different people and organizations. And the great thing about what we do is we are able to connect you to those resources to help you get towards the goals that you may be trying to achieve. So this is, as Gabby mentioned, Iowa Works is a division of Iowa Workforce Development, and we have multiple Iowa Works centers throughout Iowa that are really about the reemployment part. And I have almost referred to us as a dating agency, where we are connecting the job seekers to the employers. We are really trying to get the right fit for a job seeker with the right fit for an employer. And we have, again, so many different opportunities to do that. We do career counseling with adult and youth. We do assessments. One of the things, I've actually experienced unemployment in my days previous. And one of the things when I was on unemployment benefits was I took the NCRC, which is the National Career Readiness certification. And it's kind of a skills assessment to see where you are in your job skills. And as you are doing those job searches, and maybe you're at a crossroads in your career thinking about, what do I want to do next? You can take that NCRC and get a certificate, and actually even put that on your resume. And employers, that can be a topic of conversation with employers that you apply with. So again, the skills development, we can help you with career exploration. One of our great resources that we use a lot here is iowaworks.gov. And if you've not been there, I encourage you to go visit it. It's a very robust tool that, again, I mentioned is that dating. So if you're a job seeker, you would register as a job seeker at iowaworks.gov. And if you're an employer who has a job opening, you would register at iowaworks.gov. And then our system can actually match up job seeker skills with those employers who are looking for those skills. And so from both the job seeker standpoint, they can search out employers that would have openings. And from the employer standpoint, they can search out job seekers that have the qualifications they're looking for. So we also do workshops. Those are things that were on a little bit of a hiatus during the pandemic. Those in-person workshops, we had a few online, but we really are now getting back into the workshops. We're kind of doing that again, hybrid. Currently, most all of our workshops are online, but we're working on getting those back in person too. But you learn soft skills training. We have for example, one that's called Bring Your A Game, if you're familiar with that training. There's lots of different training for building your soft skills. Resume and cover letter assistance. We can have different staff members here and advisors here will work with you on building your resume and cover letter. And then interview prep. Those are also things we can do to kind of do some mock interviews to help you prepare for the types of questions you may be asked during an interview and give you tips on dressing for success. Community referrals, as I mentioned earlier, if we're not able to help you with the services that you need, we do have a lot of community partners, and we can point you in the right direction and connect you with those referrals in our community who may be able to help you better. We have job placement services, and again, you can do some on-the-job training, you can do some internships. We also do employment referrals, and those are things, again, we can do even through Iowa Works. If we have an employer that, again, is looking for a certain candidate, and we happen to know a candidate who maybe even just recently came into our office, we can actually, as staff members, we can make those referrals even here through our office. We have veteran services. A lot of our veterans in need of employment services will come in, and we actually have a specific staff member designated to help those veterans. We are also partnered with Promise Jobs. So we have a whole staff here that works on the Promise Jobs program. We work with reentry for if you've been out of the workforce for a while and or been incarcerated. We have staff members that will work through helping you, again, get reemployed if you're re-entering the workforce. Registered apprenticeships is a big thing. Again, through the state of Iowa, that's a big initiative right now with getting those registered apprenticeships. And we are working on, we have a lot of employers that we work with for the registered apprenticeship programs. Disabilities, if you know somebody or have a disability, we have resources available with programs like Ticket to Work. We also work alongside of Voc Rehab. They're right down the hall here in our building. So we definitely have resources available for anyone with disabilities. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the unemployment insurance. We can assist with those as well. With anyone who had any needs on that lengthy list, we can help from the job seeker side. On the business services side, and that's a little more in my wheelhouse of things that I will be working on more again as we're coming out of the pandemic. But we, as I mentioned, we can help with recruitment assistance. We do work with employers. We've actually had a few employers who have come in to our office and even just set up in one of our conference rooms to invite people in to do open interviews and just directly talk to people who may be job seeking. It gives them an opportunity to do that one-on-one conversation in their recruitment efforts. We also do any labor market information. If there's any employers who are looking for any kind of labor market statistics or data, we have the ability to help them with that. Several different programs, again, being a state agency, we have, there's a work opportunity tax credit that employers can get funding if and a lot of employers don't know about this, but there are actually some tax credits available for people who would look at hiring somebody with a disability or even a criminal background. There's definitely opportunities for some financial assistance to help with that. And also federal bonding, again, back to that, if they have a record, I know sometimes a lot of employers are hesitant to, take on somebody who might have been incarcerated or served some time, but we have, again, through the state, there's federal bonding opportunities that they can have some financial assistance through that. We also have a program called Employers Council of Iowa that is very similar to, I would compare it to SHRM, which is groups of employers that get together for continuing education on the latest hot topics that employers want to learn about and talk about. That's, again, been on a hiatus during the pandemic, but we're working on getting that back up and running. So we'll start to have some regular meetings and presentations with the Employers Council of Iowa. Kind of a joke here is our all-in-one labor posters, those posters that you have to hang up in your office as an employer. I've heard that those can be pretty expensive if you actually go to purchase them, in the upwards of $500 or $600. A lot of employers don't know you can actually get them here in our office for free. So if any of you need an updated all-in-one labor poster, we have them here. You can stop in anytime during our office hours and pick one up, and multiple ones. We had an organization stop and pick up 5. So those are available at no cost for any organization that needs them. The most recent one we have is from 2019. So if your labor poster is not from updated as of 2019, you may need to get another one. The job placement services, as I mentioned, again, from the employer side, we work with them on the job training and internships. We also do job fairs and again, on-site recruiting events. So we called it an open air job fair back in June out at National Cattle Congress. And we had over 50 employers come out and meet with job seekers who were coming out and about to meet with employers. We're planning another one for August 25th. This one's going to be out at Riverfront Stadium. Again, and we're doing another open air job fair, hoping to, by having it outside, there's a couple of things. I know it's going to be chancy with the weather. And when we did it last month, it was really hot. but a lot of employers actually appreciated having the opportunity to get out of their office, especially their cold office, Gabby, right? And even though it was almost 100 degrees, they were happy to be out there. And it's just the nice thing with being outside is we don't have to limit it to the number of employers that can come, because the space is almost unlimited for inviting employers out there. When we do it inside, we have limited space and have to limit it to a certain number of employers. So we're planning another one again, as I said, in August. And then once fall comes, we'll probably start to have to do a few of those more inside. Let's see. We also do pre-employment testing and training. There's definitely, we have tests available. If somebody's, not a lot of employers require this anymore, but if you need to have a typing test of some sort or some kind of a skills test that shows that you have a certain ability to apply for a job, we can help with that on our end. So if employers say, I want to hire people, but I really want them to have a certain level of typing speed or any other aptitude, we can work with those pre-employment testing and training. And again, as I mentioned, the referrals, we talked about the registered apprenticeships. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about a program called Future Ready Iowa in these upcoming slides, and also Home Base Iowa. And then again, as I mentioned, from the employer side, we can also assist the employers with unemployment assistance. So from the employer side, if they have a staff member who files for unemployment or files a claim and they have questions or not sure about the paperwork, we can help. We can also help with that assistance as well. So this is a little bit about Home Base Iowa. It's a veterans program. And if you visit homebaseiowa.gov, there's a website very similar to our iowaworks.gov that, as I kind of mentioned, is almost like a dating site where employers who are looking specifically for veterans can go there and view resumes of veterans. And on the veteran side, if there's employers that veterans want to connect with who are Home Base Iowa, they've connected with Home Base Iowa and they've put out there that they want to hire veterans, there's that opportunity to make that connection through this website again. There's a lot of benefits to being involved with Home Base Iowa, and we have over 1,500 businesses that are committed to hiring veterans. And again, it's an online tool. And kind of a neat bonus is there's an automatic in-state tuition at state universities and community colleges for qualified veterans and their dependents who are involved with this program. Future Ready Iowa is, again, an Iowa initiative that there were some studies done that 70% of Iowa's workforce will have post-secondary education training or credential of value. That's our goal for Future Ready Iowa by the year 2025. So where we are now, we're falling short. We need to increase 139,900 people across Iowa need to get involved in the secondary education or training credential by the year 2025. So we've got some work ahead of us. Where did this information come from? There was again, that study was through Georgetown University that did this study on the state of Iowa and said that by 2025, we have 68% of jobs that are going to require education and training beyond high school. So here's a few statistics on employers and how they perceive the workforce. And one of the questions is that applicants lack the qualifications needed for people that they're hiring. So there's this, and again, this is a perception based on a research, a needs survey, a workforce needs survey of employers, that applicants, about 55.8% of the employers surveyed believe that applicants lack the qualifications needed to take on a job at their organization. And then just a general lack of applicants. About, again, close to 50% of employers feel there is a general lack of applicants. Now, I will tell you, this study was from 2018, pre-pandemic. I think if we took that survey today and all the help wanted signs and posters and everything we're seeing, and so many employers are coming to us to saying, help, 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 we need to hire a workforce. I think that 48.3% would really jump if we did the survey today. So now again, the perception of applicants, employers believe applicants lack those hard skills. About 32%, 33% nearly believe that applicants lack those hard skills. And then about 25% believe that applicants lack those soft or interpersonal skills as well. I'm going to talk a little bit, I'd mentioned Iowans with disabilities, and there are 170,186 Iowans across the state who have a disability from ages 18 to 64. There's currently individuals with a disability in Iowa's labor force is about 84,000, almost 84,200. That's about 7.6% of those with a disability are unemployed. So just something to keep in mind when we talked about those partnerships that we have with Ticket to Work and Voc Rehab, that we're really working to, stay focused on those with a disability to help get them back in the workforce and back to work. And those with a record that have been incarcerated, that's actually the second largest pool of employees behind those with disabilities. So we, again, have some really great partnerships and programs to work with getting offenders back into the workforce. 92% of those currently incarcerated will be released. So they're going to need to find something to help get them back up and running and get to pay the bills. So we do, again, work with offender reentry, and we've got a great partnership and program right here in our office to get that back up and going. These are just some contact information. If anybody or you work with is looking for any kind of job search assistance, there's a lot of options. They can come here, they can call us, and they can stop into our office. We're on University Avenue. We're in the North Star building. If they come in door number 2, it's got a big door number 2 there. They can come in and we're right inside the door there. Any local and statewide employment opportunities, as I mentioned, that site, iowaworks.gov, is a great site for doing any kind of job searches. I know you think of places like Indeed and Monster on a more national level, but we are here specifically in Iowa. This is a really great website to do some job searches locally. Again, resume assistance. You can actually, Iowa Works, the website helps you build your resume. If you're pretty good on the computer, pretty savvy, there's some really great tools on iowaworks.gov to help you build your resume and make it pretty presentable. Also, Career Coach is another website that we have that also, again, can make you kind of work you through the steps if you've never done a resume before, or you may struggle with what should be on my resume. It's a really great, those are 2 really great tools to help you build on that resume. Of course, again, you could still even come into our office, and we've got some advisors here that can help you through that process as well. And then I always have to talk about the unemployment assistance because those unemployment insurance benefits are, again, a part of what we do. And we are here to help people who, unfortunately, for whatever reason, are not employed and they're needing that unemployment insurance. We are able to help answer those questions as well. I'm going to turn it over to my friend Nilvia now to talk a little bit about the MSFW program.
All right. Thank you so much, Nikki, and excited to be here presenting. I am glad that it's being recorded and it's going to be shared because just took a look at the distribution list and there's a lot of people that seem to work with the communities that I might be working with. So first, I wanted to start off with just explaining what is an MSFW. An MSFW, that's just the abbreviation that we use to say migrant or seasonal farm worker. A lot of times they're referred to as the invisible essential labor force because they're out in the fields. A lot of times it's people that come from either another state or another country, and they do all of the work that it takes to make Iowa and the country run, right? And then they go back home. So it's a very specific community that I work with. I know that there was a lot of people from Embark and other organizations on that distribution list. So I want to specify that it's not necessarily broadly the immigrant community that I work with at this job. But it is very specifically either seasonal farm workers, that is anybody, either domestic, immigrant, refugee background, any sort of thing that has a job that is seasonal in nature. So that's even if they live here in Blackhawk County or in another part of the state, but they work only from X date to X date or these certain months out of the year, that's considered a seasonal farm worker. And to specify, these all have to be in the ag field very specifically. The other component is a migrant farm worker, which is any farm worker that can't reasonably return to their home at the end of the day. So that's both domestic and foreign labor force that if we think about people from Texas and Nebraska is where we see a lot of our migrant farm workers from. They come here to Iowa to work for a specific contract. And then at the end of the day, they can't go back to their home, but they have housing provided by their employer or housing that they've figured out themselves, a hotel, something like that, that they go back to at the end of the day. And then the last category under the what is an MSFW is an H-2A farm worker. These are people that are specifically here on a visa, excuse me, that cannot last for a contract that cannot last more than 10 months. And then at that point, they return home. We see a lot from Mexico is the biggest pool that we see H-2A farm workers from, but we also see a lot from South Africa, the Ukraine, and other countries here and there. Excuse me. Our main goals, my department's main goals are to first locate and contact migrant seasonal farm workers. There's a reason they're called the invisible essential labor force. H-2A farm workers, we have easy access to because the foreign labor certification is a part of the government and we have to have access to those workers basically. But what's considered seasonal and migrant farm workers, usually what are these domestic workers that are here, domestic workers of any status, right? Undocumented, documented, residents, citizens. These are the groups that we don't necessarily know where they are all at. We know they're out there, but we don't know where they're all at. And so this is part of, if any of your organizations work with migrant or seasonal farm workers, that would be a great connection to make to Iowa Workforce Development. Because we educate this community about A, their rights, and B, the complaint system within Iowa Workforce Development. I think we all know that this has been a largely underrepresented community for decades, for a very long time here in the United States. So we educate them about what their rights are as workers. And also we have a complaint system in which if those rights aren't being met, they have the right to file a complaint, to get lost wages, to get some sort of reparation for anything that's been done against them. We also offer our full range of services that are available through the American Job Center. So everything that Nikki presented about, we do with migrant and seasonal farm workers, with the domestic ones, I should say. So anything at all, career planning, if they want to seek a different path, that's something that we do. And then last, we connect them to supportive services. So because Iowa Workforce Development isn't all comprehensive, we do a lot, we do only specifically related to reemployment and what it is that you need to get there. But we know that these workers also need supportive services, right? So we have partner organizations that offer healthcare, that offer education, and then the National Farm Workers Jobs Program. That is something that I like to promote a lot, that helps migrants and seasonal farm workers that want to get out of the agricultural field. They have that resource available to them. It's basically a lot of what exactly what the American Job Center does, but specifically targeted to those communities. So those are resources that are culturally competent and provided to them in their native language, and also available to their family members. That's another extension of that. And it's a group that's specifically targeted for them. And so it's catered services that are catered to that community. But yeah, that's basically what I do. And so I want to make sure again that if anyone that's either on the call or that's listening to it afterwards, the recorded version, if this is a community that you work with, if you know of anybody that needs services, to contact me. I don't think I have my contact information. I should have put my contact information on the slide, but I can, Gabby, you have that, and I can make sure to make it available, and yeah, reach out for sure.
Yeah, we can definitely send it out when we send out the recording for both you and Nikki, so that if people have questions, they can reach out. So thank you very much.
Perfect.
And very good information. You guys do. Oh, there we go. Well, there's Nikki's contact information, but we'll definitely add Sylvia. But just good information. And I think there's so much more that the office does other than unemployment, like you said, Nikki, and there's a lot of dimensions to it. So.
Yeah. So do we have any questions from the group? I know we went through, there were quite a few slides, but if anybody has any questions, we can attempt to answer them.
Oh. Hi, my name is Adriana. I'm a community health worker here at Black Hawk County Health Department. Sorry, I was late. My question is, so when people call for the services, do they ask for someone specifically? Because I know like there's prompts, but to get faster to the person that they need. Like for the disability resources, like is there a certain person that they need to speak with? If they don't speak English, who will help them? Who do they talk to?
Right. So if they just call our main number, they can, we usually have somebody during business hours that is answering the phone. And if they, we take all kinds of calls for all kinds of reasons. And we actually did have, even though Voc Rehab down the hall actually has, they have a separate office. We've taken calls for them before. And well, hold on, I'll run down the hall. So yeah, so I would say direct them just to call our main number here. And that's again, 319-235-2123. And they may get some prompts. But then the person, you know, if they just get to the operator and the main number, then and they're not sure who they need to talk to or what they need solved or worked on or what their challenge is, they can talk to somebody in our front desk area that can help guide them.
So Nikki, a question that I would have is, because my job is actually reentry, and who would it be that I could talk to there myself personally about your guys' program and how I could help my clients to get more involved with using Iowa Works?
Great question. We actually have a partnership called Title I. It's called WIOA, and we have a couple of staff members here that work on specifically those different populations. And Brian Nissen, and I can follow up and give you his information, but he is our Title I sponsor. He's actually employed with Goodwill, but he is working with the reentries for people who could benefit from getting back to work, coming back out of the workforce.
Okay.
Great questions. Anything else? I don't know, Allison, if you're in a place that you can ask a question, or otherwise, hopefully this has been helpful information for you, for the people you work with in BARC.
No, it's very, very helpful. I don't have any questions at this time. I've worked with Iowa Works a lot, so we're familiar with kind of their services and everything. And so, yeah, it's good, very helpful information for us to, help our clients and stuff going forward.
Great, great. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording, but then we can go ahead and have conversation after that.